In this episode, Michael Burnham is sentenced to life imprisonment for mutiny. While being transported, her shuttle becomes infested with an organism that damages the ship, and she is rescued by the USS Discovery. Pretty quickly, this episode begins to hint at involvement with Section 31. The research that the ship does is top secret, security wears black uniforms with black badges, and Captain Lorca says he wants to recruit Michael Burnham rather than allow her to serve her prison sentence. The organism that infested the shuttle was probably put there by Lorca. Section 31 recruits people by abducting them, essentially, so that's another clue. Some folks have also pointed out that the Discovery's number is NCC 1031, which might be a reference to Section 31 as well. It would be very silly if this turns out to have nothing to do with Section 31. There's so many hints that Star Trek Discovery looks like it's shaping up to be Section 31 the series. This would be advantageous for the writers because if what the ship does is top secret, then they can disregard canon and explain it away by portraying contradictions as having been covered up. The only major problem I have with this series so far is how separate it seems to be from the rest of canon. And while I'm glad that there is potentially a good excuse for that, I'd really like to see something connecting it to the events and characters of the original series. I'm looking forward to seeing Harry Mudd, for example. I was glad to hear that Spock was mentioned in this episode, albeit obliquely. Burnham mentions how Amanda Grayson would read to her and her son. Maybe the reason Spock never mentioned Michael was because he knew that she was involved with Section 31 and didn't want to reveal anything about her or her origins. Since Lorca is working on these weird quantum spore things, maybe this will all turn out to take place in some other alternate universe or something. A cute little Easter egg in this episode is when Lorca demonstrates how the spores work, Burnham appears to teleport to the planet with the Preserver obelisk, and the mines of Janus 6. Also, I like that the data cards look like the data cards from the original series. I like the crew of the Discovery. I like how creepy Lorca is, I like Stamets, and I like Tilly. She seems to be a bit of an odd fit given the tone of the show, but since the show is so dark, you really need a character like Tilly to lighten things up a bit.